that's the city of Pacifica down below where Sanchez Adobe is and where Portolá and his expedition found shelter and welcome from another Ohlone village. Then, on November 4th, 1769, the expedition ascended these mountains just to the east in hopes of spotting the supply ship they'd long been waiting for. Instead, they spotted something different. Still searching for Monterey Bay, the Portolá expedition followed its scouts uphill to see what they had discovered 2 days earlier. And now, so do we. Pacifica right below us. We're about a mile from Sanchez Adobe, right?
That's correct, yes. Right at the end of Fassler Avenue.
Joining us are Kevin Woodhouse, city manager of Pacifica, Deidre and Jerry Crow with the Pacifica Historical Society, and Mitch Postal, president of the San Mateo County Historical Association.
This is a gateway to, these historic hills.
Here at the end of Fassler Avenue, Pacifica is installing a small parking lot to improve this entrance to the Golden Gate National Recreation Area.
It's a great opportunity to interpret this area and let people relive that hike up the hill to the discovery site.
It's a steep climb to the top, but we're rewarded with spectacular views. And so was the expedition. Wow, there it is. November 4th, 1769, and holy cow. On what's now Sweeney Ridge, Portolá's men became the first with European heritage to spy San Francisco Bay. But it wasn't what they were looking for. No Spanish ship stocked with provisions, and surely not Monterey Bay. November 4th, 1769.
Yeah.
Portolá was a very disappointed man.
Yes. He wrote in his diary he had found nothing.
Though Portolá had no idea what this body of water was, he'd actually discovered one of the world's finest harbors, ringed by native villages.
It turned out to be a very cosmopolitan landscape, much like we see now, the cities of Palo Alto, San Carlos, Mountain View, and so forth. You can almost substitute tribal names for those places because they too were distributed in cities and towns and villages all up and down the peninsula here and across the landscape.
Today, the bay's ringed by thriving cities, San Bruno down below, and famous landmarks such as SFO. Much has changed, but some has not.
Today's view is not going to show us a tremendous amount of marshes that extended out into the bay. Mostly that's all gone. But the blue of the bay actually is pretty much the way you would have seen it.
From these ridges, we can see the present, but imagine the past, as Portolá and those before him might have experienced it. Thriving marshes and life on the wing filling the skies.
I close my eyes and I can hear the birds, and I can hear the ocean crashing. I can feel the soft breezes, and they did the same thing 10,000 years ago.
Portolá's chance encounter with the bay would soon and forever transform all life in California, setting forces in motion that have led to the world we see below.
This was a big occasion because it marked the beginnings of the Spanish colonial era, and so it's the beginning of something very important, and it also marks the end of something too.
From Sweeney Ridge, Portolá's expedition descended southward towards the bay, as do we with Mark Hilkema. So after Sweeney Ridge, the expedition came down here on the peninsula, yes?
That's right. In fact, they hiked right through here, the Valley of San Andreas, and they encountered a very large number of people known as the South Shawnee, which is one of the many tribes of Ohlone people. And here there were like 7 large villages.
These grand oaks just north of Woodside are not here by accident. They were first nurtured by Ohlone hands.
Actually, we call them oak orchards because the women were burning underneath the trees to get rid of the pests. You can see the acorns more. The trees are healthier because of the tending, and that's part of the reason why they grew so stately here. They were managed.
As the Portolá expedition traveled through California, it replaced native names for village sites with Spanish ones: San Diego, Santa Barbara, and Palo Alto.
The Portolá expedition is going through this valley. They named the creek Little San Francisco Creek. It's still called San Francisquito Creek. And they follow it down to the Bay Shore Plain. And that's where they see the huge redwood known as the Palo Alto.
This was Portolá's final Bay Area camp. From here, scouts explored a bit of the East Bay shoreline before everyone turned back towards home and into the pages of history. After Portolá, other Spanish expeditions soon followed by land and sea, and so did colonial settlement. Mission Dolores and the Presidio of San Francisco were founded just 7 years later, and only 7 decades after that came the gold rush. Modern California was forever off to the races. For the Ohlone, colonization meant cataclysmic change and profound loss, but not extinction. Survivors persevered. Their descendants and their traditions are with us today.
Please hear our prayer.
We still manage to keep those traditions alive within families and in other ways that here we are 2 centuries later and plus, and we're doing our ceremonies now. We're practicing our traditions. We're starting to speak our languages again.
They're also beginning to share their traditions with us. Culture bearers such as Linda Yamani are creating new treasures full of power to restore a people and inspire us all with the beauty and sophistication of Ohlone culture.
We were devastated, but not eradicated. And that's the history we want people to know. We're still here. We're still practicing our customs and bringing back traditions and reestablishing our presence in the world.